There we go. It's recording. And then it can get most people's voices in. Yeah. We can just put it somewhere, just there, so that everybody can hear. Thank you so much. I don't know if you are aware of the way Council has explained what child and youth care work is, the scope of practice, where they say we are responsible for care and development, behavior management, we are responsible for making planned environments, and so on, as defined as at our auxiliary level as well. But do you think that there are things that are part of what we do as child and youth care workers that people don't really understand and don't know about? Do you think, you mentioned already now mentoring as one thing. And we've said that people don't really understand child and youth care work so much. What is it, do you think, that they don't understand? Or can you put that into words at all? Anybody's opinion. It's hard to tell, hey?
It's not that much.
Okay.
Okay, can I start?
Yeah.
Okay, with the experience that I have, I remember if you were to say you're a child and youth care worker, people didn't understand because at social development, they used to call us social auxiliary work.
Yes.
And for them to understand, as long as you mention social auxiliary, it made sense that you're working under the social workers. Until it came to a point whereby we stood our ground as child and youth care workers to say this is our profession and we are called child and youth care workers. So they don't understand that child and youth care workers are working in a life space of a child. So when you start explaining to them, it's still difficult for them to understand it. As to when you say, I'm working in a moment with a child. I'm an intervener. If crisis is an opportunity, I'm there. I don't focus on it or take it as a negative. So they don't understand that we are focusing on a strength-based approach.
Right.
I don't get why we get excited when something goes wrong with young people.
It's precisely my point, yes. So it is very difficult, even if they're to explain. I think, and the language itself, they don't understand it until you do it in practice.
Yes.
That's when they can understand exactly what to do. But still, it is still a problem even in my families. Family members, when you explain to them, you're a child, and you say, what do you do? Then I have to break it down to them to say, what is it that I'm doing currently?
Yeah. And what are other people's opinions?
And also, as child and youth care workers, we build that rapport before we start any intervention with the children. So it makes it easier for us to be able to assist the child with whatever psychosocial issues he's experiencing. And the fact that we also not office-based, even though we are at school, for instance, we also do home visits when we see a need. For instance, if we see that this child is not performing well in school, we then assess the child and see what is it that is making this child not to perform so well. And then we will find out what is it, and then we realize that at home something is not going so well, and then we go there for home assessments, and then we like not intervening with the child only, but also involving also the family. Like it's where the family conferencing assists us, because everyone would say, I see this child this way, I see this child this way, and this is what is the problem, even though maybe they can't say it in many ways, but you can say, so this is what is happening, so this is what is holding this child not to perform so well, and then you intervene accordingly. And then it helps also to refer the child to the right stakeholders when the referral is needed.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And I've seen also with child and youth care work, people don't actually understand until you mention I work like a social worker, but the difference is we are more focused on family reunification. As much as we are there to try and minimize the social issues that our young people are facing, we are also there to also make sure that the family stays reunificated. Because once you mention the issue of social worker, people know them as people who always take their children away, put their parents into prison and so forth. But with us, it's different. We work towards making sure that the situation is minimized as much as possible for the learner, and also making sure that the young people, they reach their own potential. They are able to perform up to their own expectations, not only what their parents are telling them.
Right.
We give them that opportunity and platform to explore who they really are, to really say, this is who I am, this is what I want. And with Child and Youth Care Worker, it gives them that platform. Instead of someone coming in and telling them what to do, this is how you do it. So we actually do things with them, do things according to them. We live in their world instead of them coming into our space, and as they've said, that we work in their own space. So it makes it easier when you are in your own territory. You are able to explore and experience quite a lot of things while you're there. So I think that's the difference between Child and Youth Care Worker and social workers, because you bring a child in an office space, immediately they block everything. Like, why am I here? But when we're in their space, they're able to show you who they really are. And we're able to identify, these are the challenges, this is what you're doing wrong, let's try and fix it. You are able to give them options in terms of how they should do things. So I think that's what childcare is.
And so you're saying child and youth care workers are skilled at being able to give young people options like that?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. I'm
Yeah.
proud to say we are skilled. Because you cannot be a child and youth care worker and not be creative.
Okay.
So you need creativity. So you cannot do that in an office space. You need to be outside. You need to think outside the box. If things don't work, what is it that I can also do to make sure that this child reaches their full potential?
And what do we mean in child and youth care work when we say creativity? Are we talking about making drawings, or what are we talking about?
I don't know if anyone wants to respond, but we're not talking about making drawings. We're not talking about taking a pen and paper. We come up with ideas. We sit down, what works, what doesn't work. Because if, for instance, you can take a cup, instead of using a cup, why not use a glass? If not use a glass, there's other options. You look at other options. You not only focus on one idea.
Right.
So which means you need to have multiple of them.
Yeah.
That is why we are able to say we're using the multiple stakeholders, because you cannot take the child to the police station without taking them first to a social worker and be able to identify what is the issue.
Okay.
So we really need to be creative about it.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
cannot focus on one answer.
Thank you. Thank you.
In essence, if you want to take it as far as art itself, we actually use families as our empty sheet, where we actually practice whatever that we have in our own minds, and we actually the paintbrush to actually give this family structure, direction, routine, and all those things. So we don't necessarily, what we do is actually not tangible. We cannot touch or feel it, but your heart can actually tell you the difference has actually been made. Our art is it's more like we are in the moving arts.
I like that.
Because ours is basically continuous. Tomorrow you may find the family in this picture. Yesterday they were in a certain frame. Today they're in a different frame. Tomorrow they are going to be in a different frame. What we do basically is to say this is the line that we should be, actually not show them the line, but say this is the destination. We are all going to get to our destination. Others may take a flight, others may take a bus, others may walk, others may take a bike. But at the end of the day, we are going to arrive to our destination. That is why we individualize everything that we do. But how I usually explain child and youth care work is basically in 3 ways. To say our main job is to create least restrictive but most empowering environment wherever we are.
Right.
We shy away from the no, because it actually kills the idea of a child being explored and to want to explore or to want to do something new, because there's always that voice that says no. And when there's always a no, it doesn't create that sense of security. So when that's why I'm saying least restrictive, because we do not restrict much, because we believe that each and every one of the children that we work with should be given an opportunity for trial and error, so that they can actually learn. So that is why we do not say no most of the time, and to create that environment that helps them grow. We help parents to change the environment at home, because what we believe in mostly is children that are actually educated in school only, they're actually not educated at all, because they also need to be created into educated at home. That is why right now, like I was saying, that's why I was excited to say we are now getting into schools. We are going to be helping teachers understand how troubled children react to because when a young person's aggression is met with an adult aggression, it's basically pouring into fuel into the fire.
Yeah.
So that is why we are there to say these learners are experiencing X, Y, and Z at home. They can really be experiencing the very same X, Y, and Z also in school. So we also communicate with teachers to help them, not teach, but to assist them to create that least restrictive but most empowering environment for all the learners.
Okay, thank you. What do other people think are the roles and functions? That's what you're talking about, the roles and functions of child and youth care.
Okay, as based at school or in the schools, I think child and youth care workers is helping us a lot, whereby as a child and youth care worker, I have learned that you might work with different children, but not forgetting that these children are coming from different environment with different problems. Remember, teachers, they don't know about this. What they do, they are not even gonna know how to manage the behavior that the children is having, or the behavior that the children is showing. Also, to put a safe place, safe environment around the school for the learners. Not everyone is feeling safe around at school. Until you are inside the school, that's when the children will come. And some of the learners will come and talk to you about things that they will not be able to talk about with their teachers. And remember, teachers or even at school, they will also realize what is it that you're doing after you have met the needs of that particular child, and not forgetting that you are also working in the best interest of the child. And as a child and youth care at school, yes, we do have challenges, but I think we are doing a great job since we have been placed at schools. What we are doing is really much appreciated by those who really know or understand what is it that we are doing now. Remember that social workers are not at school. We are always at school. We must wait for the social worker to come. What if we were not at the school until the social worker, maybe they will need to call a social worker to come to school. So I think what we are doing is really great, and not forgetting that we are helping families, individuals with their families. We are providing support and care, not forgetting the therapeutic care, then grief and loss.
Is that
we are
right?
doing a great job. I don't want to say anything. My child and youth care work is really much appreciated at school.
Well, we all believe you're doing a good job. So
We do. I do
I think
believe.
in this room we will all agree.
Yes.
You know, otherwise we wouldn't be here.
True.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. From my side, like, I'm not going to differ from what my colleagues have just said. I call them colleagues because we are on the same profession.
Yes.
Because like in instances like where I come from, it's more like it's a residential facility.
Yes.
So in that case, because what I'm listening to what you're saying is, it's more like they've got all the information about the child. They can even have the parents' contact, and then they can also go and visit families.
Yeah.
Of which in our case, it's something that is not. When the child comes, all the information and the files and whatnot, they are with. The child is assigned with a certain social worker. Who's going to do, before they can even call you, she has already done her assessment with the child. But that child is going to work directly with me.
Yes.
Remember, when I'm working night shift, I'm there. When I'm working weekends, I'm there. But I was not part of the assessment. So there are certain loopholes that I think within our profession that we really need to look them very deeper, so that we can have at least clear understanding of like this child that I'm working with,
Yes.
the info, each and every, I think somehow it's more like people, or they don't believe that we can have that thing of saying, can child and youth care worker be, can I trust him with the information of the child, whether the child is sick, whether the child report, you see. So when they have the information, it's good on their side. Up until, I'm talking from where I'm working, up until I see the child decides or react to certain things. Then when I start going to, you know what, I'm experiencing 1, 2, 3 with the child also. They'll tell you know what, he was taking medication and then here are his files and whatnot. Like, I was never exposed to these things. Now because of the child is starting reacting to certain things, now it's only now I get the information. But up until when the child comes and say, you know, child and youth care worker together with social worker, just come here, let's do assessment. So in our institution, in our where I work, it doesn't work that way.
But that's what should happen. The child youth care workers are right there with the assessment.
It should start there.
Yeah.
It should. I mean, like, that's why we've got an MDT, so that at least each and everyone who's going to be working with this child, this person must know that who are you working with.
Yes.
So that if there are any mental challenge, because where I work, some are mentally challenged.
Yes.
And remember, I'm not trained to work with a young person who's got these mental challenges.
Yeah.
You see?
No, I understand. Thank you. Do you want to add to that point?
I want to add on this point.
You add on that point and then I'll go on to the others.
In terms of the I'm sorry. In terms of the residential care where I'm working, it's totally different from here. I'm working with young people who has mental illnesses. I'm given an opportunity to be part of the screening process, whereby before they can admit, I'm part of the multidisciplinary team.
And how do you contribute to that multidisciplinary team?
Okay, that will depend on the behavior of the child. Before they can admit, they need my input to say, DK lady, you had the behavior of the child. What's your take on that? Therefore, I will give my insight as to, okay, this, irrespective of the behavior, irrespective of the mental illness the child has, we don't have to focus more on the mental illness. Let's focus on the individual young person and concentrate on the strength of the young person that he is. So I'm in that platform, I'm given an opportunity to say something, and eventually we have a collective decision to say we admit the child. By the time I take the child to the unit, I will share the information with the colleagues to say this young person is this, and confidentiality to us, we even sign. We sign, you endorse your signature to say the information of the child, it's confidential, we are not going to share it with anyone else. We as child and care workers, then we can discuss around that so that they know how to deal with that young person in terms of managing the behavior.
Okay, that's very interesting. Yeah.
So you see now from, okay, so we're working from DSD, ne?
Yes,
but like practices are different. But remember, we've got one policy that guides us. But like on how they're doing things and on how we do things, it's
right. Totally different. Right. Yeah. And that's what we've got to try and get right all the time. Yeah.
What I like to say is that I used to work in the community. Then when I started working in schools, I did see the difference between working in school and the community with the child.
Okay.
You know, the child, when he's at school, he or she is living two lives. At school is the real child. You will see everything you want. And at home, he's living that life that the parents want. They decide for him or her what to do and what. Then if you take the observation and identification you have done in school, go to home visit, do the assessment, and you combine all these things, then you start to make an YDP for that learner. You will see how you can assist the child with the challenges that she or he having holistically. Then you plan which stakeholders you will work with, because you can't do things alone. There are different stakeholders that you work with them. And what I like most about the child and youth care worker, you don't just refer a child to SASA and leave it like that. We make sure the service she gets is done, rendered, and everything she will do. Even at the clinic, we used to accompany them to make sure that the child receives services well. And even the child is out of school, going to tertiary or what, you just go to visit during school holidays when the universities are closed and see how is that child doing, because he's not exposed to university. Then you want to find out how is she or he doing, and we don't leave things like we leave the child like that. And
So that follow-up
is done regularly.
is very much part of the role.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
And we make sure we do things with them. We don't just decide for them. We are there for them and do things with them. We just give them options, choose good options they choose for themselves. We allow them to do things on their space.
Okay, so it's not telling children what to do,
we don't.
but putting out the options in front of them and helping them then to make those decisions. Yeah.
And we are there all the time. We don't say if the child needs you, say, I'm home, I can't do anything. You can give a child a psychosocial support over the phone. That
Okay.
will assist the child to do something until tomorrow morning when you see. We don't say, I'm home, I can't talk to you now. No, we don't do that. We are
Okay.
always there for the child.
To sum
So-
up,
Yeah.
sorry, to sum up what William was saying and take it back to the basis of your question. So how we explain what how I normally explain what she just said is we are actually the general practitioners of the social sector. Because when you get to the medical side of things, they do have their general practitioners. We are also the general practitioners of the social sector because we do not take these things to ourselves only. And we do not work with one child on our own without anybody's help. We always refer, like in the general practice, they will all use into the doctor if something is too big for them or it's too complex for them. They will actually refer to the specialist. That's what we also do. Basically, just to sum up what she's saying.
And I hear, just in summing up, I hear that what we're saying is that it's not just a case of making a referral, like writing a letter or giving a number. It's actually making sure that referral makes meaning for the child. The service is there and it's what the child needs. Am I correct?
Yes, because remember we have an IDP that needs to be completed at the end of the day to say this was our plan. So it was our plan to refer you to another specialist. So when you come back, we need to get feedback like we do with the general doctor.
Right.
When you also always have to come back. If they would send you to an optometrist, you still have to come back to your family doctor to say this is what we have achieved. Probably I got my spectacles and all those things, or they told me I do not have a side problem. It was just a migraine. So the general practitioner is always at the center of all these things. So say now if this one did not work, let's take you to this one.
Right. Okay.
Like I can say, we don't focus mostly in the number of children we are servicing. We focus on the change we are bringing. I can't have 100 kids but not doing anything. I can even have 2 children, but quality service will be delivered.
You must see the change.
I must see the change.
Okay, thank you. Yeah. You going to say something? Last but not least.
Yeah, I think my colleagues have said a lot. And just to add on what they said, one thing that child and youth care workers are doing, we also observe. One thing that we do, we observe on the behavior of a child. We know that if a child is behaving in a certain way, the feeling might be driving the behavior of the child. Maybe you see that a child is always stealing. We won't judge a child that's saying that their child is stealing, but we're going to find out what is making the child steal.
Yes.
E.g., when you see a child stealing, then you know that maybe it is pushed by the poverty. You go back, maybe you sit down with a child, do one-on-one session with a child. It's where you find the background and you know that this child is coming from a family, maybe there's poverty in the family. This might be driving the child to steal. It's one thing that we do. As also working at schools, one thing that I've seen is that we do something that we call morning supervision when the children are getting in the morning. We're also using our observation skill. One child is always late, or one child, you can see this child, she's not dressed appropriately every time coming to school. You're going to want to find out, why is this child doing this? We always do that. And one thing that we do, we don't, what she just said, we don't leave the children hanging. We make sure that we do follow up by saying that the child is out of the school, but why is the child out of the school? Since maybe I've served a child, but things are not going right. Why is this child now going out of school? Maybe the principal will just say, this is the law, the child is out. We don't say the child is out. We want to make sure that, okay, the child is out. What can we do for this child? We don't just leave children hanging. Maybe find a skills school for the child when the child can continue doing what's best for the child. We believing that we here to uphold the rights of the kids. We believe that we need to find them the correct spaces where they need to go. And child and youth care workers, they are very much creative. Working at a school, I don't have an office. Sometimes I don't have a class where I can facilitate an awareness to the kids or the program that I need to facilitate. But I always come up with something that will work. Even if going under a tree, sitting there with them, the space, they feel so much. Some of them, they even tell me that, Tidi, I think we don't even need a class. The environment outside is very good.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. But it sounds like what you're saying is that they also like to be with you.
Yeah. That's what.
Like for instance
They're
now,
even referring themselves to us. They
Yeah,
are no longer
peers
waiting
refer
to
their
be
peers.
referred.
and you see now we are here. Oh, tomorrow
That's
they will
like
ask
5
questions.
years.
Where were you? You know, they will just say so many things. You know, we don't feel safe at school when we are not there.
Oh, shame.
And even the
Now
principal,
you're making me feel bad.
even the principal, if we are not there, he feels
Yeah.
bad and say, guys, where are you going now? You must be always here
Yeah,
for the kids because the kids are exposed to you.
Yeah. But now, what is it that you are doing that makes the children want to be with you?
I remember that you establish a relationship with the children. So when you establish the relationship, you have to maintain it. I think the maintenance it's a process as well, and that's what makes young people to come very closer to us.
Yeah.
And as long as that you are reachable and approachable, and you are not labeling them, they feel much more safer around you.
Okay.
And the confidentiality that
Okay.
we heard about
Then-
their issues.
Right. They must trust you that you're not
They
going
do
to just
trust
talk.
you.
Another thing is that we want to listen to them. When they come to their stories, we pay attention to them. We give them that time. We don't just listen now and say go, but we give them time to talk. We don't even limit time. As we say, we're working flexible hours. We make sure that everything is done.
Okay. Yeah.
I think also it's the fact of how we introduce ourselves, because we hardly say I'm a child and youth care worker when you get to school. It's either you're going to say my name is Tembani, or hi Chomi, I want to be your friend. It's the manner that we approach them that makes them comfortable enough to want us to be there all the time. Because I can say with our other profession, they are normally told the social worker is coming for you tomorrow, the SAPS is coming for you tomorrow. But with us it's different. When we get there, I'm happy, I'm Nomvuyo, you are Chomi, I want to be your friend, I'm not your mother, I'm not your sister, but I want to be your friend. We put ourselves in the same level as the child. It makes it easier for them to be able to come and say, I'm going through this, how can you help? Please advise. Even though sometimes they might not be direct, some of them will come and say, my friend is going through this, just to hear what you're going to say. Only later you find that she was actually talking about themselves, and then we are able to assist, and we do not push them away. Whenever they come, you just say, come sit, even though you are busy with something, but you'll still be able to give attention to them. So I think it's the manner that we introduce ourselves in that makes it easier for us, for the learners, to give us or to be comfortable enough around us.
Okay.
And also, as child and youth workers, we are allowing them to be themselves. Like not to tell us what we want to hear. but to tell us everything they want to tell, and not to be like to restrict them on how they see us. For instance, in my school, they call me Mamusbindi. Mamusbindi, Mamusbindi, where's Mamusbindi? So if maybe I were in another maybe profession, I would say, you know what, my name is Nomboya. I'm not an SB. But then it's okay. They are comfortable to call me Mamusbindi. So it's fine. And then when I laugh, when I smile to them, they are free to come to me and say, Mam Nomboya, you know what, 2017, this is what happened to me. And I'm like, and this is the first time, Nomboya, I'm disclosing this to you. So because of like encouraging that openness, I'm approachable, I must say, for them, and something that they are not used to, even maybe some of them back home, because some they will say, no, don't tell my mother that I told you this. Yeah, well, it's because of there is no, they do have that relationship with their parents, but to a certain extent, like there are things they feel like, you know what, I can't share this with my mom. But maybe you will see that most of them older to their mothers, some of them. But then they are free to me to say even something about their love affairs. They will say that, no, I'm dating this boy, and this is what is happening. And some they will come to me, no, what, no, my boyfriend beat me last night, or my boyfriend sent me a message. Let me show you when I've got my phone. I'll bring my phone and then you'll keep it. Then after school, just read my messages. They're so like comfortable to share whatever. No. So I think to be a child and youth care worker, and actually I think I need to thank NSCCW for empowering us so much, because we are so empowered, we're so skilled that in communication we know how to communicate with these kids. Like I'm not communicating as a mother, as a 48-year-old. When I'm with them, I'm communicating with them as like somebody who is
how does the baby take pictures?
So they speak to me about anything, and I was privileged to be part of the screening panel. Going back to the issue that we as child and youth care workers, we are not that much involved in assessing and in decision making. So when the child was in need of a safe place, I was part of the screening panel as a child, and like everybody was involving me, even the social workers, the nurse, everybody that was in the screening panel. So I think that's a good thing.
Okay, no, perfect. It's I'm sitting here thinking, if I were a child, I would go to any one of you.
Still on that, I think children, they don't want something very predictable. When you are a teacher, they know you are coming from 8 until 10 is your period. You're coming with your notebook and what you're going to, then you're done. So as a child and youth care worker, you must always be unpredictable. You cannot be today they are playing soccer, and then by that time you don't even have a soccer ball. You must be creative. You take whatever that is there, maybe your plastics and what, you create a soccer ball. Yeah. They play that at that time. Right. You see? Because of once you are becoming predictable, they'll know, Jack is coming tomorrow, gonna do this and that. You see? Because sometimes you've got only one soccer ball. The naughtiest of them all then is going to steal that. Then your creative levels, creative juices, they must come to your party now. Right. So children want new things.
Challenge.
They can always just
yes. They want to be challenged, and they will always challenge you back. So you need to be ready for that. I think that's what child and youth care workers do. We always up for the challenge. For instance, they know that when you say, I want to have a session with you, they're expecting that you'll be cooped up in some small room and now making them cry. At times you even say, go and dish up your lunch and dish up for me as well. And they get surprised. You're going to eat our food. Yes, I'm going to eat your food. We're going to eat and talk. And that's what child and youth care workers are. They become children. We become children. Yeah. We become them. Yeah. But also putting in mind that while they are opening up, you are also coming up with ideas of how you can help this particular young person. So we actually become them at the same time, trying to find out how can you help them and make their lives productive.
Right. I could carry on this conversation all day because it's just making me feel so happy because of I can hear the quality of child and youth care work that you are able to do and articulate. But sorry, Caesar, we can come back to it, but I'm being told that we've got to cut it short because I started late, but actually we've gone for an hour in any case. But just quickly before we end, I'd like to take your point, and then I just want to ask whether you feel that the training was helpful. I don't mean NACCW as such, but the training of you as child and youth care workers. If you can think of yourself before you were a child and youth care worker, and the training, and whether that was helpful in making you into a child and youth care worker or not. But let's just take Sizwe's point, and then we...
I'll just take the two within a bit.
Okay.
Yeah, with the training part, I think most of us can actually tell the same story to say we've always wanted to work with children, but we don't know where to go. And the training gave us a hope.
Right.
To say now we can actually, we have a space to do these things safely, with integrity, because with me, in fact, I started this in church. And most guys in church made me feel like I was gay because I actually loved playing with children. I actually loved developing them, and without even understanding the concept of developing children, but it was just basically the love. But now, what training did, it actually shifted the love a little bit to the corner and gave me the skills on how to do it. Because when you do it with love, and then you end up spoiling children and thinking you're doing the right thing. But now with training, it teaches you to say you need to separate the emotion and the practicality of things, because sometimes you need to be as firm as possible when things go wrong. But when we love them too much, we end up making a lot of mistakes.
Sure.
And most of the time we start this thing while we are still young, without the experience of our own children. But with going back to the first question, I wanted basically to give you a short practical example of your question on why these children trust us, or how are they trusting us with all these things when they've actually seen so many professionals. I mean, I had one, actually not just one, because now it's actually a very huge group of them who are actually gang members in the community. Can you imagine if a learner has actually had a gun since from grade 7, and now he's grade 10 and he's repeating it for the 4th time, and he tells you, now I'm afraid that I might go to jail because I've actually used the gun several times in places that I wasn't supposed to, and I never had anyone that I could tell, because I know if I would tell anyone, I'm in jail. And now I'm entrusting you with all this information. Do whatever that needs to be done. At the end of the day, I know I'm going to be safe, and I trust you with my life. Do whatever that needs to be done, but I know whatever that you decide with my life is going to be conducive for me.
Right, right. That's a very good example. Thank you. And other people about training, did it make a difference?
That colleague that is coming back from BQCC.
Okay.
I'm a BQCC student. Before, I didn't have an insight of what is happening about childcare. But the BQCC took out the love and the passion of children. Because when I was working with them, I didn't understand. But being equipped with that qualification at that particular time, it made things easier, because there's this part where they were talking about love the unlovable. And when you're working in the unit and there's this young person that is not lovable, so it was very easier that you could relate to that young person. So in the process of developing these young people, you could relate to some of young people about your background or your history to young people, and it has it has helped me a lot. It has helped me a lot in a sense that I could see that in the process of developing them, I got developed as well. In the process of raising them, they were raising me too.
It has to be that dual process.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Other people?
I'd like to say it's a two-way stream with childcare. You first need to help yourself before you can help another person.
Yeah.
And I think the training it actually provided that for me personally, because you cannot help someone if yourself you still have your own triggers. So with the training that it's provided, I can actually say it was actually helpful, because there's the saying that we are all healing soldiers. So because for you to understand what you need to do out there, you first need to help yourself and let it sink into you first that this is what I went through, this is how I should have or could have dealt with, this is how I can better change myself to make sure that the next person doesn't go through what I went through.
Right.
So I think the training helped quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, okay.
And for me, when I started childcare, I was just a housewife. And my solutions to my children was to beat them when they are not doing what I want.
Yeah, that's how we were all taught. Yeah.
Yes. Then when I got training, when I was trained on childcare, I learned that beating a child is just satisfying my need.
Yeah.
Is not solving anything, because the child will continue doing that behind my back. It's just that will be scared of me. It's not even going to be respectful of me, but will be just scared of me. And then I've learned a lot about module 2 communication skills. Uguti, you know what, the way you talk to someone, it's very important. Your tone of your voice, your way of saying things, because sometimes we'll say things that are right, but then the way you put them might destroy the child, might make the child to feel judged. So unjudgmental attitude I've learned from the training I've got, and I was fortunate, I think, to be trained in so many things. Like I've been trained in also how to respond to the needs of children with disabilities, that even if they have got cerebral palsy, I need to greet the child, not to treat the child as if can't hear or maybe can't see me, but I need to see a child first, and then I can see the disability after.
Okay.
So it
Thank
helped
you.
me a lot.
We're going to have to wrap up now, but I wonder if there are another couple of comments, so that everybody's had a comment on this. Quickly, please.
Okay.
The time has gone past so quickly.
What I can say is that the training is very good for me, because I started at the organization where I was just employed as a community member. But when I get this training, I did find it differently before I became a child and youth care worker, professional one. Because I used to see those children on the street that they used to bank school, gambling and so, and I used to charge them. But now I understand that they are going through something. I have to assist them by observing and identify some things. I no longer judge or do some things that I used
So
to
that was a
say
big
that.
shift.
Mm-hmm.
Big
Differently.
shift. A big change in the way you thought about children.
Okay, before with the training, it helped a lot, because I'm one person that's very soft. I'll just spoon feed a child. If a child, I'll just say, okay, you need this, take it and it's fine. But with the training, I've learned that you don't have to spoon feed, but you need to offer skills for the kids so that tomorrow they will be able to stand up for themselves.
Right. Okay. Okay. Super. Yeah. Has everybody given an opinion on this? No.
I think the training was very helpful, especially when coming to cultural competence. Remember, we see people with different beliefs,
Yes.
what they are doing, we
Yes.
don't understand. But from the training that I got, I don't want to lie. I go with everything that I come across with. But before the training, I didn't understand what is it that other people are doing. And remember, we're coming from different cultures with different beliefs. And it also helped me to believe in a child, to build a confidence and self-esteem. I'm really much happier.
Okay.
Yeah, well, on my side, I'll say training is something that it's forever. It's an ongoing thing, even up to this stage.
Yes.
Because remember, when I started working as a child and youth care worker, by then, from the company that I was working, it was an NGO. And then remember, when they say there's an employment, like, okay, I've been doing these things from the community that I was in. But like, because of now, you must put them into practical, and then you must go and undergo some trainings and stuff. Then you see like, somehow, these things were not done according to the book. So this is how things must be done. You're not taking children's emotions seriously, because of when a child is crying there in a corner, like how we were taught, like if the child is crying there, leave him like that. Eventually he'll be okay. You don't even have to ask. It's like, you know what, Lo, we are deaf. But they will explain.
They cry baby.
He will be okay. But like now, after trainings, like go to the child.
Yeah.
What is really bothering the child?
Yeah.
Because some of the things is like, when he sees me, he sees somebody who abused him before.
Yes.
Or he see that father figure somebody that he never had before.
Yes.
You see. So the training is like, after getting the training, it's like individual, go to them, be part of them, understand them.
Right.
They will understand you.
Okay. People, thank you so much. I could carry on talking about this. You've made me feel so nice today.
Mel, there's one point I forgot.
Yes.
You know, everything that is happening, there's money inside. Now, with this training, you know that we know how to budget. It helps us a lot. So we know how to develop our families doing their own budget. Like you can't just develop a person and when he's working, what is he going to do?
Yes.
There's a budget.
Yeah. So
inside.
Okay, that's a key issue. Absolutely. Okay. People, thank you very much for coming. I really deeply appreciate your presence, but your wisdom, and I have just loved talking about child and youth care work. I was myself, I think a lot of people don't know this, but I was myself a child and youth care worker for 12 years. And then I was a principal of a children's home. And that's why I really believe in child and youth care work. And it's just very interesting to hear these perspectives that you've given us today, because I think they're so rich and so alive. And you've inspired me to make a good PhD now. So thank you very much for coming. And I apologize once again for the delay. It was not anticipated at all, and I'm very embarrassed to have done that. Please don't experience any disrespect from me from that. I don't mean that at all. It was just something that we didn't understand was going to happen like this today. So thank you very much. Norma Tandaza has got the reimbursements for your travel, and also I'm going to ask her if she can just give the letter of consent.
Yes.
So what we talked about now, maybe she could send it to you rather. Should she send it, because you've all got a place that you could, maybe it's easier for you to sign here.
You can sign here.
Okay, what we requested with the register, if you can endorse your signature there, it's going to be easier that I can take it to work.
Oh, sure. So I should just sign just once. Not to show that you have had to
No,
They are signing consented. Voting that consent form.
There we go. But I've got a letter that each of you needs to sign. That's what I'm saying. So just to say that you've given your consent, because you gave your consent now, but you still might want to go back and think about it or something like that, and then you can sign and send it back to us. Should we do that? Shall I send it to you, or should we get Norma Tandaza to print it now? Can print it now.
Print it now.
Okay, super.
I will get it from you on that.
Thank you so much. Thank you. This switches off. Boom.